How's it going, everyone? We are coming up on summer, and the summer is usually notorious for being a lighter season of game releases, but I gotta say, if you have a PlayStation 5, you're eating pretty good this summer. There's a lot of titles to be excited for. I'm not gonna say it's jam-packed with big releases. There are for sure some big releases, but there's a lot of compelling games, and bear in mind that this is the summer as far as what's announced. A lot of the times you'll see games these days get announced and then be released a month later. Look at the turnaround time of a game like Live Alive being announced for a PlayStation 4 and 5 release, and then ultimately the game being released like a month and a half after its announcement. Sometimes that does happen, so keep that in mind. On the Xbox side of things, you had like Hi-Fi Rush being announced and then released on the same day, so that is becoming more commonplace. So this doesn't encompass everything that's coming this summer, but it is the majority of what's announced and a lot of the games that are personally exciting me. So let's get right into it, and let's start things off with the biggest game of the summer. I don't think it's any bit of a stretch to say this. Final Fantasy XVI. Originally announced back in the summer of 2020 alongside the PlayStation 5, Final Fantasy XVI is finally here, and man, the gameplay we've seen of this title so far has looked incredible. Fast-paced action gameplay, gorgeous visuals, and a mature theme of a narrative to go along with it. It looks like the summoning battles are going to be incredible. Final Fantasy XVI looks to be the Final Fantasy that I'm not going to say everyone is going to be enjoying, but it'll hopefully be a little bit less divisive than recent Final Fantasy titles, namely Final Fantasy XV and Final Fantasy XIII. 16 seems to be a game that everybody's excited for, and it is scheduled to be a PlayStation 5 timed exclusive, and it will be released on June 22nd. Next up, we have Deck 13's Atlas Fallen, being developed again by Deck 13 and published by Focus Entertainment. Rise from the dust and glide the sands of a timeless land filled with ancient dragons, mysteries, and fragments of the past. Hunt legendary monsters with powerful sand-infused weapons and abilities and spectacular super-powered combat. Now, this is a game that was scheduled to be released a few months ago, saw a delay, but it will be coming in August. Target and gather the essence of your enemies to shape your own custom playstyle, forging a new era for humanity in a fully cooperative or solo story campaign. Rise from dust, unleash the storm, master the sands to explore a unique fantasy world teeming with secrets, locales, and dangers. Hunt legendary creatures alone or with a friend in heroic superpowered combat. Unleash your power to create deadly shape-shifting weapons. Rise as the ultimate champion with unique custom skills and abilities. Atlas Fallen is scheduled to be released on August 10th. Next up, we have Capcom's Exoprimal. Now, Capcom's been on a roll with their new releases as far as supporting existing IPs. I mean, Resident Evil has been crushing it, Mega Man's been crushing it, we got Dragon's Dogma 2 on the horizon, we got Street Fighter 6, but Exoprimal is a brand new IP, and it's an online team-based action game that pits humanity's cutting-edge exosuit technology against history's most ferocious beasts, dinosaurs. And I remember when everybody saw this game, we immediately thought of a Dino Crisis, but this is a multiplayer-focused title, so keep in mind what to expect here. It does look like an interesting multiplayer title. Hopefully it turns out well. On Xbox, it will be available on Game Pass, $59.99 price tag on PlayStation, and it is scheduled for a release on July 14th. Next up, definitely not a game for everyone, but I do think it'll have an audience, and that is Eternights. Eternights is a dating action game where you try to make the most out of life during the apocalypse. On Monday, go on a date, Tuesday, clear dungeon, and Friday, freak out, the clock is ticking. Yes, it's a very unique blend of a lot of different genres. It's a unique blend. Save the world and find love along the way. The impending end of the world makes for great conversation starter. Whether when you're not exploring dungeons, you can choose to spend time growing closer to a cast of 5 quirky and lovable characters, explore their stories, and grow closer to them to unlock unique skills and spells that you can use in battle. And of course, the gameplay is still going to have a combat-oriented focus, which is going to be an element of the game. So it'll be interesting to see how this ultimately does turn out. Eternights is scheduled for release sometime this summer. Next up, here's a game that I am incredibly excited about. Long-running franchise making a comeback. That is Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, a new action game based on the concept of the Armored Core series that uses the knowledge gained from Software's recent action game development. This is a game that you can jump right into. Don't worry about if you haven't played past games. You've got dynamic omnidirectional battles. Players will pilot their mech in fast-paced omnidirectional battles, taking advantage of massive stages and their mech's mobility on land and in the air to ensure victory. Customized parts for individual battle styles. Customized Armored Core parts to suit a large variety of playstyles, selecting different parts not only changes the mech's attacks, but also directly affects its movement and battle style, so each mission can be approached with a unique mech strategy. And you've got thrilling boss battles capping things off. Deploy a wide variety of offensive and defensive tactics at close and long range to take down powerful enemy bosses. Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon will be coming on August 25th. Next up, if you're a fan of throwback RPGs, this one has to be on your radar. Been in development for a little while now, but Sea of Stars is finally coming on August 29th. Sea of Stars is a turn-based RPG inspired by the classic. It tells the story of two children of Solstice who will combine the powers of the sun and the moon to perform eclipse magic, the only force capable of fending off the monstrous creations of the evil alchemist known as the Fleshmancer. The game's got a gorgeous art style and engaging turn-based combat. Pressing the action button in sync with the animations increases damage output while reducing incoming damage along with time hits. Combat features multi-character combo attacks, boosting and strategic lock systems, offering options to play with different damage types in order to hinder enemies while they are channeling powerful attacks or spells. Unshackled traversal, swim, climb, vault, jump off, or hoist up ledges as you traverse seamlessly through the world with a navigation system based on platform expertise that breaks free from the classic bound to the grid title set movement. Our custom-made render pipeline allows the creation of a breathtaking world coming to life by pushing the limits of 2D pixel art games. And a story-rich adventure capping things off. Sea of Stars hits PlayStation 5 on August 29th. Next up, a new IP coming from EA as a part of their EA Originals program, Immortals of Aveum. Now, this is a super stylish, fast-paced fantasy action game. Summon your power, stop the Everwar, and save the realms. Coming from Ascendant Studios, this is an incredibly fast-paced single-player action title. Immortals of Aveum is a single-player first-person magic shooter that tells the story of Jack as he joins an elite order of battle mages to save a world on the edge of abyss. With legions of soldiers on both sides of the Everwar, he must uncover the mysteries of Aveum's troubled past if there's any hope for saving its future. Master 3 forces of magic and unleash spells with deadly skill in a game that defies FPS conventions. Yes, it's a super stylish, magic-oriented first-person title. Join the Order of Immortals and the Champion Protectors of Lucium and become Jack, an elite Triarch Magnus. Master your magic, fast, fluid, first-person spell-based combat that's easy to learn and satisfying to master, where players are rewarded for clever chain attacks and well-timed counters. And unleash your arsenal of spells. Unlock and upgrade more than 25 spells and 80 talents. Discover, upgrade, and craft hundreds of pieces of magical gear to synergize your playstyle across all three forces of magic. Immortals of Aveum is scheduled for release on July 20th. Next up, we have Sonic Origins Plus. Classic Sonic redefined in widescreen HD. Explore 4 classic remastered Sonic titles in Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and Sonic CD in high definition with all new opening and ending animations for each title. All in one bundle. Includes previously released add-on content, Extreme Mission, Mirror Mode, additional letterbox backgrounds, new character animations and menus, additional music from other Sonic titles, and more. And you've got new playable characters, classic and anniversary modes, new unlockables, and 12 Sonic Game Gear titles as well. 12 beloved Sonic Game Gear titles on current gen platforms. Sonic Origins Plus is out on June 23rd. Next up, long-running JRPG franchise getting its latest entry over here in the West. We have The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie. Now, let's get one thing straight. Do not jump into this game if you have not played the existing Trails titles. At the very least, you should play the entirety of Cold Steel, and to be perfectly honest, you should play all of the games before getting into Trails into Reverie. 3 different legends are about to unfold, determine the fates of Reen Schwarzer, Lloyd Bannings, and the Mysterious Sea in a climactic chapter of the Legend of Heroes series. A great turn-based JRPG franchise, great music, incredible world building, a charming cast of characters, and a massive history to go along with it. It is quite the undertaking if you're trying to play everything, given that there's 3 games in the first trilogy, then the 2 games in the Crossbell arc, then 4 games in Cold Steel, and you're talking 80 to 100 hour games a pop. Yes, it's a massive undertaking, but they're well worth it if you're into JRPGs. The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie drops on July 7th. Next up, we have OXENFREE 2, A Lost Signals. Coming from Night School Studio, OXENFREE, the original was a fantastic narrative-driven title, and now we have a follow-up. 5 years after the events of OXENFREE, Riley returns to her hometown to investigate mysterious radio signals. What she finds is more than she bargained for. A great art style here, and obviously incredibly narrative-driven, with choices mattering. Shape everything through your conversations and dialogue choices. Forge a deep friendship with an old acquaintance from high school, or opt to ignore a lost fisherman in need. Your choice impacts who Riley becomes, your relationships, and the story options available to you at every turn. OXENFREE 2 Lost Signals drops on July 12th. Next up, we have Ad Infinitum. You fight for your sanity and survival in the trenches of the Great War and the walls of your family home. Play a German soldier haunted by the horrors of the Great War. Terrible creatures, death traps, and insane mysteries mark your path through the battlefield. A psychological horror first-person title, the boundaries between nightmare and reality, between truth and lies have been shattered as all hell breaks loose. Play as a German soldier haunted by the horrors of the Great War, terrible creatures, death traps, and insane mysteries mark your path through the battlefield. Ad Infinitum is scheduled for a release sometime this summer. Next up, a major RPG release, Baldur's Gate 3. Currently in early access on PC by Lorien Studios, Baldur's Gate 3 is a story-rich, party-based RPG set in the universe of Dungeons & Dragons, where your choices shape a tale of fellowship and betrayal, survival and sacrifice, and the lure of absolute power. Gather your party and return to the Forgotten Realms in a tale of fellowship and betrayal, sacrifice, and survival. Mysterious abilities are awakening inside you, drawn from a mind flare parasite planted in your brain. Resist and turn darkness against itself, or embrace corruption and become the ultimate evil. From the creators of Divinity Original Sin 2 comes a next-generation RPG set in the world of Dungeons & Dragons. Baldur's Gate 3 is scheduled for a release on PlayStation 5 on August 31st. Next up, a brand new Souls-like title, we have Lies of P. Inspired by the familiar story of Pinocchio, Lies of P is an action Souls-like game set in a dark Belle Epoque world. Guide Pinocchio on his unrelenting journey to become human. An incredibly dark ambiance to the game, and that is already creating an incredibly engrossing world. A dark fairy tale retold, and the city of Krat was inspired by the Belle Epoque era in Europe, late 19th century to the early 20th century, and is the epitome of a collapsed city bereft of prosperity. A dark fairy tale retold, the timeless tale of Pinocchio has been reimagined with dark and striking visuals. Lies of P is scheduled for a release sometime this August. Next up, we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Take on the role of one of the most notorious slaughter family or their victims in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a third-person asymmetrical horror experience based on the groundbreaking and iconic 1974 horror film. Experience the mad and macabre for yourself in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. A survival horror action title, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, will be dropping on August 18th. Next up, the latest in the Ride franchise, Ride 5 will be hitting PS5. Rev up your engine and get ready to hit the track with Ride 5, an adrenaline-filled gaming experience that is so authentic, it'll make you feel like you're truly racing at a breakneck speed. Start out in your garage, climb the ranks, and become the best world racer in the new career mode. Race against increasingly skilled rivals, true obstacles who will stand between you and the finish line. Win under any condition. There is always one factor you can't control, the weather. Clear blue skies can turn into heavy downpours and then back to sunshine. And feel the competition. Split screen is back. Now you can challenge a friend and win live. And if you want to show the world what you're worth, endurance races will put you to the test. Ride 5 is scheduled for release on PS5 on August 24th. Next up, we have Ito Zombie Uprising. Slaughter the Dead, Face the Unpredictable, a roguelike action title where traditional Japanese characters destroy hordes of zombies. Since everything is randomly generated each time you play, no run will ever be the same. Need to make harsh decisions to survive. A fast-paced action title here, currently in early access on PC, but we'll be seeing its official release on PlayStation 5 sometime this summer. Next up, we have War Hospital. Be the ray of hope among the darkness of war. Manage a British World War I field hospital in a 3D isometric RTS where you lead the medical corps instead of soldiers. Fight for life, soul, and humanity in a world that rejected them in a unique society survival game. War Hospital is hitting PS5 on August 31st. Next up, a brand new post-apocalyptic RPG, we have Broken Roads. Broken Roads is a narrative-driven RPG that brings exploration, strategic turn-based combat, and meaningful philosophical choices to an all-new Australian post-apocalyptic setting. It notes a unique morality system influencing dialogue, quests, and character development, authentic Australian locations and environments, blend of traditional and original RPG mechanics, up to 5 party members, turn-based tactical combat, hand-drawn artwork, and a content-rich and densely crafted world. Broken Roads is scheduled for a release sometime this summer. Next up, we have a brand new side-scrolling action title in Nocturnal. From a visual standpoint, this one immediately had my attention. After years of traveling, you find your native island covered in a mysterious fog. Carve your way with fire and steel to find out what happens to your people. In an action platformer, you're the only one who can discover the secrets that lie beyond the mist. Nocturnal is scheduled for a release sometime this summer. And lastly, we have the free-to-play MMORPG in Wayfinder hitting early access on PlayStation 5 this summer. The full release will will be happening sometime later in the year. Become a Wayfinder and unlock their powers as you choose your path and playstyle while pushing back a hostile force that has overtaken your world. Control the chaos as you directly shape and customize the endless adventures you go on with your friends, because Wayfinders are stronger together. Currently, the game is running a closed beta. You can sign up for that, but it will be hitting early access sometime this summer, and again, with its ultimate free-to-play release happening at the end of the year. And that is going to do it for me. Again, the summer is stacked with new game releases, and even if one or two of these games get delayed, more games will be announced, and this is really, while there is a lot of games, the tip of the iceberg as far as more games getting announced and more games being scheduled for a summer release. That's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.